Keto cheesecake is what we've got on tap today. This stuff is rich, it's decadent, it's creamy, it's just absolutely delicious. I'm even going to show you guys how to make a shortbread cookie crust that is totally keto friendly and totally low carb for the keto cheesecake. This thing is just, it's crazy delicious. With that being said, let's jump right into this recipe and make some keto cheesecake. So the first thing we want to do is get some eggs out and bring them up to room temperature, as well as 3 blocks or 24 ounces of full fat cream cheese. At this point, we'll also want to preheat our oven to 300 degrees. And now we're all set to get out our food scale, a large bowl, and we're ready to start making the crust for our keto cheesecake. So the first thing we're going to add to that bowl is some blanched almond flour. As a lot of you guys know, I love to use this one by Kirkland's because it's cheap and it has the lowest amount of net carbs I've seen for almond flour. With that being said, we're going to add 1 1/4 cups or 140 grams of that stuff to our bowl. And then we're going to sweeten up the crust of our keto cheesecake without adding any carbs or calories by using some confectioner's swerve. And more specifically, we're adding 1/4 cup or 40 grams of it for our crust today. Lastly, we're just going to add a pinch of salt, and then we're going to whisk those ingredients together until they're combined. Once they're combined, we're going to start adding the wet ingredients, and the first ingredient we're adding is 1/4 cup or 56 grams of melted butter. Next, we're going to crack and add 1 large egg to our bowl, as well as a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So now we're going to use a spatula and mix all those ingredients together until a thick batter forms. Once it does, we're going to set that bowl aside and get out a 9-inch springform pan to not only bake the keto cheesecake crust in, but eventually we're going to bake the entire keto cheesecake inside of it as well. For now though, we're just going to coat that pan with baking spray, add the dough for the crust to it, and evenly spread the dough out in the pan. So once that's looking good, we're going to bake the crust for around 15 minutes. And in the meantime of the crust baking, we're going to start making the filling for our low carb cheesecake. The base of our keto cheesecake, like most cheesecakes, is full fat cream cheese. And like you already saw, we took ours out earlier to bring it up to room temperature. So we're going to add those 3 8-ounce, 227 gram blocks of cream cheese to a very large bowl. Also at this point, we're going to add the sweetener for our keto cheesecake filling. Once again, we're using confectioner swerve to sweeten things up, just like we did with the crust. And for today's recipe, we're going to add just less than a cup or 125 grams of it to our bowl. So now we're going to get out a hand mixer and beat the cream cheese and the swerve together until they're combined with one another. Once they're combined, we're going to add the juice from 1/4 of a lemon, as well as a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And at this point, we're going to start cracking, adding, and mixing 2 large eggs into the keto cheesecake filling as well. So once we've combined those eggs thoroughly into the other ingredients and it's looking smooth and creamy like this, the crust should be done baking in the oven. So we're all set to add the filling of our cheesecake on top of our crust. And I like to use an icing spatula to make sure the low carb cheesecake filling is evenly spread out in the pan like this. So when we've got that evenly spread out in the pan, we're going to turn up the temperature of our oven to 350 degrees, and then we're going to pop our keto cheesecake in there for around 35 minutes. We'll know the cheesecake is done when the outer ring of it is set, but the inside is still a little jiggly when we shake the pan. So at this point, we can remove it from the oven, and we're going to let the cheesecake cool down to room temperature. And then when it cools down, we're going to wrap the top of it in tinfoil and refrigerate it for at least 5 hours. So when we've waited patiently for our keto cheesecake to cool and those 5 hours have passed, we can take it out of the refrigerator, unlatch the pan, cut it into slices, and enjoy it. As always, for more information about today's low carb keto cheesecake recipe, check the video description below, and I hope you like it.